What's up, everybody? I'm Mikey Dread, and I'm here with another Bowling Science episode. Today, we have PBA legend and radical staffer Tom Smallwood with us, and we got a few questions for him, some from you, the fans. So let's get to that. Tom, how you doing today?
Good so far, man. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Staying home, but staying busy. And staying focused on, improving my bowling game still somehow. And that kind of brought me to you. At Bowling Science, we like to take a look at successful bowlers and especially those with unique styles. And yours has been both extremely successful and extremely unique in the PBA. So we figured we wanted to sit down and have you answer a few questions that I get a lot, and honestly, I just don't have the answer to them.
Right, right.
All right, well, the first question's from me, and it's a purple ball question. Counterattack or rack attack?
Uh, well, I like the rack attack more for not really the reasons why I the general public probably likes the counterattack better. The rack attack for me is a little more controllable, a little more forward off the break point, where the counterattack's a little more angular. So for me, when I'm throwing a rack attack, I'm just trying to control the pockets. All I'm trying to do. And that ball allows me to do it. It allows me to keep it. It really acts like a really strong urethane ball. Um, so that's kind of why I like that ball more. The counterattack is probably 2 to 3 boards more than a rack attack for me, but it's more down lane too. It's where, you know, my mindset when I'm throwing those two bowling balls is to control the pocket. So the rack attack lets me control the pocket a little easier, a little less down lane motion. Lets you keep the ball in front of me a little more. So that's why I like the rack attack more. And that's probably why everyone else likes the counter attack more, is because they like to see more down lane reaction.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's a great point of view to hear. So it's about control for you
Yeah.
when it comes to that choice, at least. With your style of how you throw the ball, what some people are calling a thumb tip or the half thumb, the way that you grip the ball, can you explain a little bit more about that and how that came to be? Is that how you've always thrown the ball? What was kind of the genesis of your current grip?
No, I mean, when I first started bowling, I started a little bit later, early teens, I guess, maybe 12, 13. I just threw it hard straight the head pin, as hard as I could throw it. And, then I started bowling a little bit of junior leagues and stuff, and a few guys were hooking it with no thumb, and watching the ball curve was way more fun than throwing it straight at the head pin. And so I kind of started no thumb and then for probably 2 or 3 years. And I felt like in my approach, I felt the ball moving around a little bit. Like I didn't feel like I could control the ball.
Yeah.
So I started putting my tip of my thumb in it just to have a consistent anchor point. And during my approach in my swing, I didn't feel the ball move around as much. So for me, it was just control. Obviously, I might have missed the boat there. Probably should have stayed with no thumb. That Jason guy does okay doing it. So, but no, that's kind of why I switched to the thumb tip, just more
Yeah.
control of the bowling ball.
Well, absolutely, and it allows you to keep that control and still just use the one hand.
Correct.
Absolutely. So, different ways of accomplishing different tasks. So, again, control is coming into. I see a theme building here with control
Yeah,
for you, Smalls. Speaking of control and adjustments, how do you figure out your adjustments when the lanes start to break down? For me, that's the biggest thing. Is I might have a game plan, or I might, know it might be better to move in on this type of pattern or better to straighten up as the lanes break down. But what do you look for to know when to start making adjustments or when to change mindsets?
um, that's one of the toughest things in bowling. Obviously, it makes the average bowler a good bowler if they know how to adjust. I'm always looking for hold. I always want a little miss left, so that's what I'm always looking for. So I migrate left a little faster than most people do. My ball speed's slower, and I'm always trying to find hold. Um, you usually can see your ball hooking a little sooner or too much, and generally you just have to move a little left. You're just trying to find that fresh oil in front of the lane. That's all you're really trying to do. But a lot of times it's hard to tell if your ball's hooking early and never hooking again, or if it's just never hooking.
Yeah, I think there's a big misconception a lot of the times with people say their ball's rolling out, you hit it with a little surface and it works. Well, at that point, I don't think it was, sometimes, like you said, the ball's never starting or never finishing.
Right, right. That's probably 95% of my questions in my ball reps is where I get frustrated. I'm like, is my ball done hooking or is it never hooking? What is it
Absolutely.
doing?
And when
So,
you're playing in those weaker core shapes, it
yeah,
definitely can be harder to see when you're manipulating and controlling the front part of the lane.
absolutely. The ball don't flare as much. You don't see the ball flare quick and do that. It just so that is probably it's probably at least 9% of my questions to my ball reps. I usually I'm pretty self-sufficient. I don't like other opinions because I'm too hard. And
I know an
but
old guy who said something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah,
No,
that's exactly it.
that's perfect. Well, we talked about the purple attack balls, counterattacks, rack attacks. And there's a red one too. But
Yeah.
what other radical balls do you like for your style, especially out of the newer launches? Is there a go-to ASIM for you, or is there another big symmetrical that you really like out of the line currently?
Um, the new hybrid. What's the new hybrid out?
The Zing or the Squatch?
The Zing hybrid. Sorry, my bad.
Absolutely, yeah, no. It's been a while since we got to throw a ball now. It's been
I
a
know,
month
I
on
bowled-
lockdown.
I bowled twice in 2 months. So, but yeah, the Zing hybrid's my favorite.
Okay.
New ball. That's my go-to ASIM. And then my go-to symmetrical is a closer solid. That ball's really good.
I've yet to try a closer series, but everyone tells me I'm missing out so far.
Yeah, that ball's good. It really good. It's very strong, but it's clean. The ball's a real deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. It kind of harkens back to that Black Ridiculous that kind of got everyone's attention when they weren't paying it.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And I could see the Zing hybrid being great for you, especially because of how clean it is through the front. It doesn't doesn't overread the back or read the back as strong as maybe an OG Katana did, but it's 100% as clean through the front of the lane.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a great compliment to the Zing solid.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really is. I mean, that Zing solid is a huge bowling ball. A lot like the Slash.
Yeah.
Slash. Then he put that pearl cover on the hybrid, and oh wow, that ball's pretty good.
Absolutely, you can go from controlling the front to moving in and putting up that big 270 score.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of that, let's see what coaching principles, because we're starting to get into some more game plan and let some of your secrets we're trying to extract here for everybody. What coaching principles really helped your game grow, and what's most important for you to keep track of physically, say during a block? Like, what's that one thing that you focus on to keep your physical game in check?
I think everyone has to have a one little thought. I think you can't have. I mean, everyone's had those. You have 5 thoughts. You can't do it. You just can't. So, the secret to my game is as simple as it possibly can make it. All times, I try not to overlook stuff, to overthink it. Just bowl. Your ball will tell you what to do. My key thought, generally, bowling is simple. My first step, short and slow. If I can get that tempo starting in the right spot, I generally can bowl. I can keep it going the whole block or for weeks at a time. And obviously, everyone knows it's really easy to go, oh, I just need to slow down. When you're not throwing it good, when you slow down, you feel like you're just mechanically stopping yourself. But I mean, my key thought is slow first step, slide the first step, and then get into your rest of your approach. You slowly accelerate through there. The rest of your approach.
And I think that's a key thing there. A lot of us do think, oh, I'm getting quick, let me slow down. And I'm a fast-footed bowler, but built on the principle of that first or second step, depending on whether you're a 4 or 5 stepper, is right. That tempo step where you got to keep that, you got to kind of creep up on it. And as you said, slowly accelerate. From there, you could go off to the races.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing that reinforced, because a lot of people, especially me, when I feel I need to slow down, sometimes I'll start quick and then think slow down, and then I end up decelerating, and then that does the opposite of what the purpose of the tempo step is. All right. Well, something caught my eye this past season. I like to sometimes make questionable decisions, or decisions that people wouldn't otherwise think of immediately. And I was so excited when you threw an Astro Nuts in PBA qualifying. I like to see when people do something creative, and I believe you made that cut with the Astro Nuts this past season. I like those kinds of creative solutions. And is that the first time you've gone with something plastic or no flare in a big tournament? And when do you know it's time to throw convention out the door and be athletic with something different?
Yeah, that's my first time throwing a plastic ball in PBA, besides a plastic ball event.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's kind of desperation, kind of. I mean, I really felt I had nothing with anything else.
Yeah.
And I threw 3 or 4 shots in practice session. I'm like, there's enough hook on 1, 2, 3. This ball is pretty good. And my thought was try to grind out a check or something. And points are so important all the time these days with the playoffs. And you don't want to do something stupid and finish like almost last, and and lose all the points.
Yeah.
If I can be in the top 25 here, get close to a check or a check, don't even make the cut, just a check, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't miss many times in qualifying with that ball. I mean, I was really happy with the left lane because it was a longer pattern, and the 32-footer was a right. And I'm like, if I can just strike a couple times in the right lane, I'm good. I didn't strike it all the time in the right lane, hardly at all.
But, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's kind of desperation, and I felt like if I could have a little bit of hold, like I said, I always like to find hold.
Yeah.
And I did. With that ball, I could miss a little left instead of like missing a headband left.
Yeah.
Which is, you don't feel near as embarrassed when you do a headband left. So that's kind of how that went, and I got fortunate enough to catch some big games because obviously those short patterns scores are a little higher than normal. And no, I mean, definitely in my head for the rest of my life. If I need to throw a plastic
If I need it, it's there. Yeah, it's awesome. I've been playing a virtual bowling game since the last time we talked called Premium Bowling, and you can create your own custom balls, and so like fan balls. I made an Astronauts, and it's fun just to rev it up at like 500-600 RPMs and watch Mo and Phil chase each other around the ball. So every time I do it, I think of that PBA event. Let's talk about layouts. It's been a hot topic lately. Have you tried any short pin layouts to tame down any of the bigger, strong equipment? And what's your experience with that? This question comes from fellow Radical staffer and our buddy Dan McCaskill.
Yeah, obviously, I worked with Mo here and there. Once a year we get 2 or 3 days together, and he loves short pins. He absolutely loves short pins, and they do work. The problem, I feel like I have to be rid of 10 or 12 to make them effective for me.
Yeah, visually, definitely better straighter.
Yeah, visually. I mean, I talked to Mo, and Mo says, go ahead and move left. Play fifth or so. In my head, I'm going, I'm going to 5-8-10 at any point. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to. So, but that is a solution for some of the shorter patterns for me, short pins.
Yeah.
They do look okay. I still feel, though, if I can throw something else, and obviously, like URETHANE's almost a cheater ball anymore. Really, it's hold. But on shorter patterns, I feel like I have a little more hold with that. But once it carries down a tiny bit, those short pins are bad. They're awesome. They're absolutely great.
Creating a little bit of extension on a short pattern. I mean, I was playing around with it on the Johnny Petraglia, and all of a sudden I had 40 feet and snap.
Right, yeah. So I like the short pins when it gets a little later in the blocks on the short patterns. Because I'm fresh, I still feel if I miss left, it goes left. Yeah. Even with short pins. Yeah. I feel I have to kind of cheat it with super weak ball. Yeah. Like racket.
Yeah.
Or URETHANE, or if extreme plastic if you had to. But,
Astronauts, right?
But yeah, so those shorter pins do work for me, and I do like them.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily first game for me.
Yeah.
I'm really short, just because I don't know. I don't have enough confidence in them yet. I don't.
And they are new for sure, but you definitely do see a big difference when you take a big ball and throw that kind of layout on it. A ball that you can only stand left with turns into a ball that you can only stand right with.
Yeah, we when the first caches first came out, Mo came into town, and we had I think 1 3/4 inch pin.
Yeah.
And maybe a 4-inch pin, and they were probably 16 or 17 boards apart.
Yeah, and you could see that like visually with your eyes, like you didn't need a computer or anything.
No. I mean, a big difference.
Yeah, and especially with something like a cache that controls the front of the lane and it's a very forward rolling ball.
Right, yeah.
No, that's awesome. question from another fan, and this comes from the Radical Fan Group. This is from Tom Mildfelt or Mildfelt. I hope I didn't destroy that. How does your natural drift in the approach affect how you line up? Because I think he's coming from the point of view that he also drifts quite a bit. And for those who don't know at home, if you haven't seen Tom throw the ball, he throws it great, but he starts in a very different place than where he ends. So the question is, how do you keep that consistent as a bowler who naturally drifts, to keep your swing in line and everything?
My drift's 17 to 19 boards, kind of depending on if it's firmer, I'm a little less. If I'm slower, a little more. But honestly, I'm just used to it now. It is weird standing right of your target. And when you line up, you're standing right of your target and you drift around. I drift around it. So to me, it looks normal, but I'm sure someone else did where I was standing.
Yeah.
What I was looking at, it looked sideways. But no, just kind of get used to it. My adjustments are normal. I don't. I look somewhere around the arrows, maybe a foot in front of them or a foot past them, but that's where I look.
Does it affect you more on the left lane compared to the right lane?
Yeah, depending on what I'm doing. Left lane, if I'm trying to play straight, definitely. If I'm trying to look at 3-4 or 2-3, that first step has to go a little straighter, and you kind of trick yourself a little bit there to do it. But that's where I struggle is the left lane on the shorter patterns when you're trying to play more up the gutter. Yeah. But you kind of trick it a little bit, figure out the best way you can to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that first step, that timing step, definitely helps you control that, migration.
Right.
Awesome. And so I appreciate you spending some time here with us. My last question, I get a lot of questions about your tilt, rotation, RPMs, and, ESPN's done some of that, the science stuff, the sports science. Bowling science, that's what I do. And I've wanted to have a nationally staffed bowler, a PBA national contender, someone who's out there to bring on and break it down and do some 1,000 frame per second shots, some 500 frame per second, slow it down, and kind of analyze your tilt and rotation just to show people at home, what it is that's creating, the motion you get. Would you be willing to maybe meet up in Muskegon one day or do something with bowling science here on the channel?
I would absolutely love to. I'd love to see it, actually. I'm curious what's going on down there too.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a cluster while I'm bowling. I'd like to see it slow down a little bit and how it's going.
I tell you, that would be a lot of fun. I've grown a lot and gotten a lot more ambitious since I've started to see myself at that pace. So I'd love to break it down and start seeing some other people. And I think what you mentioned last time, Muskegon, is probably the best way to do that. I'm gonna find my way to Michigan and we'll meet up there for sure. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time with us today, Tom. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you on the channel, and I hope we can do it again in the future in the flesh when it's safe to do so. Let's get together and throw some bowling balls.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. This is great. Anytime you want me, just shoot me a text.
Will do. I want to thank you, and I want to thank the guys at Radical, Phil, Jim, and Mo for helping put all this together, and we'll catch you next time here on Bowling Science.